You can buy this at the grocery store in 48 states, but the moment you plant it in your backyard, you've committed a federal offense. It's called water spinach or kangkong, and it's been on the federal noxious weed list since 1973. 3 billion people eat it daily. So why is it illegal here? The answer starts in 1973. The USDA had a problem. It wasn't the first time water spinach appeared in America. During World War II, refugees fleeing Southeast Asia brought cuttings hidden in their luggage. A piece of home, a backup plan if rice ran out. In Vietnam, when bombs destroyed the paddies, this plant kept people alive. It grew in flooded craters, in drainage ditches, anywhere water pooled. You didn't need seeds. A single stem cutting could feed a family in 2 weeks, but by the early 1970s, those backyard patches had escaped. Florida's canals were choking. Texas waterways turned into solid green mats. The plant was so aggressive it could double its biomass in 10 days, starving native species of light and oxygen. So in 1973, the USDA made a choice: classify it as a federal noxious weed. Overnight, the survival food that saved millions became contraband. Here's the paradox. Grocery stores could still sell it, because commercial farms operated under contained agricultural conditions. But you, in your backyard, no permit, no exceptions, plant it, and you're breaking federal law. But why does it grow so aggressively? The answer is in the stem. Let's run the numbers. Water spinach pulls nutrients from water faster than most vegetables. 100 grams of fresh leaves, about 1 handful, contains 2.7 milligrams of iron. For comparison, the same amount of regular spinach, 0.81 milligrams, more than 3 times the iron content. In real terms, 1 handful gives you 15% of your daily iron. For context, you'd need to eat 3 handfuls of regular spinach to get the same amount. That's the difference between survival and starvation. Then there's vitamin C, 55 milligrams per 100 grams. That's more than an orange. The hollow stems, they're like straws that suck nutrients straight from water. No soil competition, just pure uptake. But here's what we don't know yet: the long-term impact if it were legalized nationwide. The same trait that makes it nutritious, aggressive nutrient uptake, makes it dangerous to ecosystems. We'll see why in a minute. So in real life, this means, yes, it's incredibly nutritious. But you need to understand the containment rules. This is food information, not medical advice. If you need iron supplementation, talk to your doctor. So how do you make sure you're buying the right plant and staying legal? Here's how you identify it, and here's how you stay safe. Water spinach is part of the morning glory family. Some wild morning glories contain toxic compounds, but if you're buying from Asian grocery stores, this isn't your concern. The bundles are labeled. Look for kangkong, ong choy, or water spinach. But if you're trying to identify it yourself, here's the system. Juvenile stage note. When the plant is young, less than 6 inches tall, the stems are thinner, but they're already hollow. If you snap a stem and it's solid inside, it's not water spinach. Step 1. 3 screening signs. First, the stem is hollow and thick, about the diameter of a pencil. Hold it up to the light. You'll see through it like a straw. Second, it thrives in water. If you see a plant growing aggressively in a flooded area, that's a clue. Third, the leaves are arrow-shaped, dark green and smooth-edged. No serrations, no fuzz. At the grocery store, look for thick hollow stems, arrow leaves, and bundles clearly labeled in Vietnamese or Chinese. That's your safest confirmation. Step 2. The growth test. Cut a 6-inch section with at least 2 nodes, those bumps along the stem. Place it in a jar of water, nodes submerged. Within 5 to 7 days, roots will emerge. If nothing happens, it's not water spinach. We'll use this exact test in the next section. Confidence threshold. If you're missing even one of the 3 screening signs, hollow stem, water-thriving growth, arrow leaves, do not consume it. If you can't see roots emerge from the nodes, do not eat it. Exit ramp. When in doubt, buy clearly labeled bunches from Asian grocery stores. That's your safest path. Now that you know what you're looking at, here's how to grow it without breaking the law. Here's the legal way to do this, and it costs $3. Remember the federal offense from the beginning? Here's how you avoid it. Contained systems only. No open soil. No connection to natural waterways. That's the law. In 2019, a Florida homeowner was fined $1,200 after inspectors found water spinach growing near their backyard pond. It had escaped from a single cutting they'd planted 3 months earlier. The fine? Not for growing it, for letting it reach natural water. Here's the wild part. The USDA allows you to eat it, just not grow it. You can literally buy it at the store, cook it, enjoy it. But if a cutting falls in your yard and takes root, that's a federal crime. The plant doesn't care about the law. You have to. But within those boundaries, you can grow an infinite supply from a single grocery store bundle. Method 1. Perpetual propagation, the no-buy version. Start with a fresh bunch from any Asian market. You're looking for stems that are thick, green and crisp. Avoid anything yellow or wilted. Steps. Cut the stems into 6-inch sections. Each section needs at least 2 nodes, those bumps we talked about. Fill a wide-mouth jar with water. Tap water is fine, no fertilizer needed yet. Submerge the nodes, but leave the top leaves exposed to air. Place the jar in indirect sunlight. A kitchen windowsill works. Wait 5 to 7 days. You'll see white roots pushing out from the nodes. This is your confirmation test from earlier. Once roots are 2 inches long, transfer to a larger container with potting soil, or keep growing in water indefinitely. Best for urban gardeners with 0 outdoor space. Infinite regrowth from one purchase. Mistake. Planting in open ground or draining water into storm sewers. Fix. Elevate containers on a tray. Catch all runoff. Dispose of old water in your household drain, never outdoors. Tools. Wide-mouth jar, tap water, kitchen scissors. That's it. Optional upgrade. Aquarium air pump for faster growth, liquid fertilizer for denser leaves. Method 2. Stir-fry harvest, the 5-minute meal. Once your stems are 12 inches tall, with at least 6 leaves, you can start harvesting. Cut from the top down, leaving the bottom 4 inches to regrow. Steps. Heat 2 tablespoons of oil in a wok or large pan, high heat. Add minced garlic and sliced chili. Let it sizzle for 10 seconds. Optional. Add 1 teaspoon of shrimp paste for depth. Toss in the stems first. They need 30 seconds. Then add the leaves. Stir constantly. Total cook time, 90 seconds max. The leaves should wilt but stay bright green. Best for quick nutrient-dense side dish. Mistake, overcooking. The leaves turn brown and slimy. Fix, high heat, constant motion, short cook time. Tools. Any large pan, cooking oil, spatula. Method 3. Container garden, the backyard legal loophole. If you want serious yield, move to a 5-gallon bucket or plastic tub. Steps. Drill drainage holes in the bottom. Line with landscape fabric. Fill with 50-50 potting soil and compost. Plant your rooted cuttings 6 inches apart. Water daily. Place the bucket on a solid surface, elevated at least 6 inches. Use a tray underneath to catch all drainage. Harvest the top 8 inches every 2 weeks. The plant regrows from the nodes. Best for families who eat greens daily. One bucket produces 2 to 3 pounds per week in peak season. Mistake: letting the bucket overflow into the yard or street gutter. Fix: monitor water levels. Never let it drain into natural ground or storm systems. Tools: old bucket, drill, potting soil. Optional upgrade: self-watering bucket insert, slow-release fertilizer. Golden rule: containment is not optional. The moment this plant touches open soil near a creek, canal, or storm drain, you're creating the exact problem the USDA was trying to stop. Action promise fulfilled. In 15 minutes, you can cut stems, drop them in water, and start a survival garden that regrows forever. But this isn't a new trick. People have been bending the rules on this plant for 50 years. This method is older than the law that banned it. In the 1970s and 80s, Southeast Asian refugees arriving in California, Texas, and Florida didn't wait for permits. They brought cuttings in their luggage, sometimes wrapped in wet newspaper, sometimes just stuck in a water bottle. It wasn't malicious, it was survival. Rice was expensive, English was hard. But this plant, it spoke their language. But by the time they realized what was happening, it was too late. Those backyard patches had escaped into American waterways, turning creeks and canals into ecological disaster zones. The plant's aggressive nutrient uptake, the same trait that makes it nutritious, chokes rivers, clogs irrigation canals, and blocks boat traffic. In Florida, it reduced oxygen levels so much that fish populations crashed. Here's the lazy method they used. Take any stem cutting, doesn't matter if it's damaged. Find standing water that doesn't dry out. Push the stem into mud at the water's edge, or just let it float. Harvest in 10 to 14 days. No soil prep, no fertilizer, no monitoring. This is exactly how the plant escaped. What worked for one family destroyed the ecosystem for everyone downstream. Solution: if you want the lazy method today, use a kiddie pool or plastic basin. Same principle. Standing water, no maintenance, but contained. Drill a small hole near the top to prevent overflow. Place it on concrete or a tarp, never on bare ground. Failure mode. Mapper 1. Basin placed directly on grass with no barrier. Within 30 days, plant roots escape through the bottom and spread into your lawn, creating a dense mat. Fix: elevate basin on cinder blocks. Line the ground underneath with thick plastic sheeting. Check weekly for runners trying to escape over the rim. Where enforcement note: in Florida, Texas, and California, inspectors actively monitor drainage ditches and wetlands for this plant. If found, property owners face fines starting at $500, plus mandatory removal costs. Check your local agricultural extension office before growing. So here's what you need to remember. 3 things. 1. Identification. If the stem isn't hollow, if it's not thriving in water, if the leaves aren't arrow-shaped, walk away. You need all 3 screening signs. Missing even one? Buy it labeled from the store instead. 2. The legal reality. Water spinach is a federal noxious weed. Grow it only in closed containers, never in open ground, never near drainage systems. In Florida, Texas, and California, enforcement is real. Fines start at $500. 3. The practical path. For $3 at an Asian grocery store, you can start a perpetual survival garden. Cut 6-inch sections, drop them in water, wait a week. You'll have roots, then leaves, then food that regrows forever. My grandmother grew this in a rusted bucket during the war. No permits, no rules, just survival. 50 years later, I'm growing it the same way. But this time, the bucket sits on concrete, and I check the drainage every week. The plant hasn't changed. The law has. and maybe that's the point. Now here's my question for you. Have you ever eaten water spinach? What dish was it? Stir-fry, soup, salad? And here's the kicker. Did you know your grandmother might have been breaking federal law when she grew it? Drop your story in the comments. I want to hear how this plant showed up in your family. Next time, we're looking at a plant that's technically illegal to sell in some states, but perfectly legal to grow. It's been called the poor man's ginseng, and it might already be in your backyard.